writing process. I'm really excited to present this to you. Carrie was at my session last week and she really liked it, I think.
Yeah.
I talked with all of you earlier. I did that little questionnaire with you and administration and paras about writing, and everybody had some big concerns about writing in their classroom. So I thought that it was really important to go ahead and find some information on things that we could do. This is more technology into the writing process, but also some other things that you can do with your students. So my purpose is to support you to teach writing in a better way, your writing instruction on a daily basis. Okay, so our agenda is to discuss struggles, frustrations, but also positive things that you deal with the writing process, to learn strategies to use in the classroom. I'm going to give you some student examples and then some work time. Okay, so think about this. How does writing look in your classroom? So if I were to come in to your classroom, think about what I would see. Okay, are there positive things going on? Negative things going on? Anybody want to share out?
My initial thought was actually really negative, which is kind of disturbing.
What were you thinking?
There's a lack of writing going on. And I think that there's a lack of writing because it's hard. It's hard for the kids. It's hard for me because I'm alone. Well, I do have a para, but she's with higher need kids. Mm-hmm. And when they're so low, they need a lot of one-on-one attention. And with our curriculum, we're not supposed to be giving them as much as I feel like I have to. Mm-hmm. And so because it's so hard, I feel like I pull back instead of trudging forward and trying to make it better.
It's hard for them to figure out how to organize their thoughts, and it's hard because they're on so many different levels.
Right.
You have a kid who can't even think about what they want to write, and then you have a kid who's, writing complete sentences, and a lot of kids, a lot in between. So.
Right. So you guys are thinking more on like frustration level, but let's start by thinking about the successes that you have during writing instruction. So you have a partner A and a partner B, so we'll have you two and you two. So the person with the longest hair is partner A.
That would be me.
And I'm going to give you 30 seconds, partner A, to share some successes that you have when teaching writing with your partner. Go.
Success is really when they can get out full complete sentences and use like transition words.
I have a lot more success when they have organizers, graphic organizers, because that way they can organize all their thoughts, and then they don't get stuck with what do I write, what do I do. Helps them organize what they're going to say.
Good ideas.
Okay, partner B, you have 30 seconds to share what successes you see.
Well, you make me capitalize punctuate. That's kind of positive.
So I started to have my kids write in the journals a lot,
every
just like
word.
journal and daily journal
I struggle
entries
with that.
when I was in the classroom.
A lot of them
I don't know, I think
know
just
how
the
to
youngest
start
are
a
writing
paragraph.
more, but I mean, I definitely think they have
which
to
is
have
good.
those
They
graphic
make the
organizers
invention,
to get their thoughts.
but then
even out,
their paragraph
to know
was
what to write.
And they did the
Okay, so
journaling,
my
did
successes are
they,
in
so you
Yeah.
just had them write, and
Yeah,
whether
it was-
what you didn't
I would give like a
critique
generic,
it.
no, it was kind of like a safe journal,
Okay.
like it wasn't for spelling.
Who
or
wants to
punctuation, it
share
was
out
just-
any successes that they
writing
feel
out.
they have in their classroom?
Can you repeat that?
I was saying that my students know how to put capital words most of the time and use punctuation correctly. We're still struggling with capitalizing every word, but
Right.
we're working on it.
And indenting.
Indenting, yeah.
They're getting really good at that. Anybody else have successes they want to share out?
I like the success in my room when we finish a project and we get to like illustrate it and publish it, and they're so excited to share it with each other.
Yep, and parents I've found,
Love to
at
read it.
conferences I always have something to share, and that gets everyone excited that they actually can finish the project. Okay, so if you are partner A, tell your partner nice work. And if you're partner B, tell your partner way to go.
Way to go.
Oh.
You didn't even tell him.
Oops, I was confused who I was.
You're the one
Nice work.
Okay, so now I want you to think about frustrations that you have when writing. And we're going to do a Kagan jot thought. So you have sticky notes in front of you, and you both will be going at the same time.
Please call the front office.
So you will just write down, you and your partner both will go at the same time, and you'll write down feeling or frustrations that you have when teaching writing. And you'll just say them out loud to each other and kind of go off of each other. Okay, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Go.
Different levels.
Getting thoughts out.
Structure.
Support.
Organization.
The drive to want to write.
The time.
Getting caught up on the conventions and
It's a lot of practice and you don't have a lot of time.
Knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, time's up. Okay, so let's share your biggest, I'll give you like 10 seconds to talk with your partner and talk about the biggest frustration you think.
I honestly kind of think that's the biggest frustration is the time, because, you know, I feel like it's really, really rushed,
And
we don't have a
with
very
that
long
management
time,
of those.
or it
Those
gets
levels.
way too drawn out, and they
I
lose
feel like it's
focus. So
like-
I
I feel
don't
like this
know where the
organization
happy medium.
and because I agree
you
with
know?
organization
Oh,
could
no,
go
we have on schools
above that,
that
'cause even if you're
then
different
we're
levels,
supposed to be doing a
if we-
different writing project and we're still stuck
if
on
we
the
could help
writing
get
project.
like the thought process organized.
I would
like
say
what I'm gonna
the
write,
time
whether it's
or-
4 sentences or 4
Yeah, the
paragraphs.
levels, like that kind of goes with the getting
Because you
thoughts
have
out.
the
An
kids that can
organization.
do it by themselves and be done.
Okay, so both of you were talking about the different levels of students and trying to manage all of those levels in one classroom with basically just yourself,
Yeah.
maybe one other character. And then you guys were talking about something else over here too.
Well, I said organization because I felt like that could even be above the different levels. Because if I could, and to me, the organization to me means like how they're getting their thoughts on paper. So whether I'm writing 4 sentences about my topic or 4 paragraphs, if I can organize, if I can teach them like how to organize their thoughts in the writing process, it might even help with the different levels because this student could be writing 4 paragraphs, maybe this student is just writing 4 sentences.
Right.
And with
But-
the differentiation, like some kids can draw a picture out and they can figure it out that way, where the other kids can write it. So that's,
Well, and then I see with that, we have all that stuff, but then they lose pieces, or they,
Right.
and that's a big frustration, because I hand it to you, so you have every piece of the puzzle that you need, but then they lose it.
Right. Okay. If you were partner A, tell your partner outstanding.
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 Thank you. Partner B, tell your partner fabulous.
Fabulous.
Can't even do a Okay, so the main common frustrations that I felt in writing would be a lack of time, which I feel daily, like I have a lack of time. I have 30 minutes, but then I have kids coming in and out of my room, and you know, by the time we get done for the day, it wasn't really a full 30 minutes. I feel like students are at all different points in their writing, which makes it really, really challenging. They don't know what to write about. I have a lot of kids where you'll even give them a prompt and they're still thinking, I have no clue what to do. They just sit there and stare at their graphic organizer or their paper. Grading writing pieces is a common concern. I know we've talked about how do you grade someone that's writing 3 paragraphs as opposed to someone that's writing 3 sentences. So that's definitely a big frustration. Students editing their own work is a big frustration. A lot of them just circle random things, and it's more me helping them edit than anything else. And then engaging students, getting them excited to write. Sometimes the prompts that I know I have are a a little dull, so getting them more excited to be in the writing process. And then going through the entire process from brainstorming all the way to final draft can be challenging with the time and the different levels. That kind of just brings everything all together. So, how can I use technology? Writing is an integral part of students' school careers, so we can use technology in daily assignments, assessments, and everyday life. This is just a little piece that I found from one of the articles that I read. Writing instruction is the most important part of the writing process for our students, and it's important to remember that before getting caught up in using technology. So I thought it was important to tell you first, before I got started into using technology, that it's important to first know what you're teaching them and have that lesson for them first. So these are the three main strategies that I'm going to be talking to you about. And I found all of these in this awesome article that I read. I have copies of it. It's amazing, and I read it and I got super energized about teaching writing and using technology. So most of these things that I'm talking about are from this article. So if you would like a copy, I have several copies. And also on your handout, if you feel like taking notes, you surely can do that. Okay, so the first part is the brainstorming strategies. So we talked about how that's really hard for our kids to brainstorm, to get it all written down and get it figured out. So in this article, it says students get an average of just over 2 minutes of planning time, which that's the study that they did, and I completely agree with that study. They look at the prompt and they write down whatever they feel like, and then they're done. And then they feel like, they're going to write their rough draft. So that was really staggering to me and kind of scary to think about. But I had my kids, just for an example, write an All About Me. And students can use words, phrases, and pictures in their graphic organizers. And it seems obvious to me now, but I never thought about letting the kids use pictures to show what they were thinking about. So this is one of my students, and I just thought that it was really interesting. He showed pizza. Instead of writing the word pizza or cheese pizza or whatever, he drew pizza. And then it's more not about writing sentences, but writing phrases and just little words in the graphic organizers. So, it seems obvious enough, but it's something that I had really never even thought of, especially for those ELL kids that really can't form, the sentences and phrases in the very beginning. To write to draw the pictures was really helpful for those kids, and it really helped them to see it through. Okay, so the rough draft, this is where the technology piece came into place. I had, they used the iPads, they used iMovie on the iPads, and they took, I didn't use all my students at first. I did this with 6 students because it would have been really overwhelming. I need to acclimate myself into the process first. But they recorded themselves, they used their graphic organizer in front of them, and then they recorded themselves telling the story. So they just used 5 sentences for each little box, and they told their story into the speaker. So it recorded what they said, and we just used their picture, so that picture played over and over again. So it wasn't recording what they were actually doing, it was just recording their voice. So you could use a recorder app, but we didn't have one of those, so I just used the iMovie. And then this quote was really interesting to me too. It said, by telling a story orally before drafting, he was able to revise with ease and avoid the angst he had been experiencing when beginning a piece of writing. So I know that a lot of times our kids struggle with where to get started. But when they recorded themselves, it wasn't hard for them. It was like they were having a conversation. So it was really interesting to play that back and listen to how they had just recorded just like a conversation with someone else. Any questions so far?
What did you say in their organizer, they had 5 sentences in each box?
Yeah, I had 5 thoughts, ideas, but they wrote 5 sentences for each
After
box.
they drew the pictures and the phrases and the.
And
okay.
recorded themselves, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So would any of you think of using that in your
I
classroom?
never have, but I absolutely will. We're supposed to be doing the how-to writing next week, and think about it. It's much easier to tell somebody exactly what you're going to do,
Mhm.
and then listen, because I might forget a step when I'm
Right.
writing it.
Right, and okay, so the students will record on iMovie, listen to the recording to write, and listen again to edit. So it was really interesting to have him, I mean, he listened to it with his earbuds in, and he would listen a little, write a little, pause it. Listen a little, write a little, pause it. So it was really interesting to see, and then he went back again and read it while he was listening to himself, and he would pause it and say, oh, I needed to add the word blah, 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 or that doesn't make sense. And he corrected himself before even having to share that with me or anyone else. Another step that you could do is have a buddy listen and then edit their paper with them. I didn't have time to do that. That goes into the time thing. But I think eventually, after all the kids know how to use iMovie and record themselves, that would be something that we could definitely get into.
That way too, they don't get all caught up on the spelling. It seems
Right.
like they're all, they're just stagnant because they're so worried about how to spell.
Right, and I think having it
you know,
recorded kind of
right,
pushes
yeah.
them to keep
Right,
going
right.
instead of just sitting there. Yeah, I agree. Okay. So the Common Core requires students to develop new ways to use reading and writing in our new world, and I know that we use technology for some of our assessments too. So it's important for them to not only have that written piece, but to also be able to type it up and be able to share that too. So with doing this, I have the written piece, but also something typed up on the screen too. It's very important to get the students acclimated to the rules of the iPad or the new app being used, which leads me into the last step here, the final draft strategy. So after he wrote his paper, he got to use, he used Pic Collage, but you could use Puppet Pals, iMovie, or Book Creator to come up with like a visual aid. And he really enjoyed doing that. He got to practice his typing a little bit. Book Creator is really good with typing as well. It's like literally a book that you can put pictures in and then type up your whole story and record yourself too, so you have your voice that is sharing the story as well.
And Jill said that we could maybe request that one.
Yeah.
If we
The Book
liked it.
Creator, yes, it's
Because
really
it costs
awesome.
money.
Yes,
I know there's a free version, but I think you can only
you
save
can only do one
book at a
book.
time.
Yeah.
But it was really, it really looked like a book.
It's legit.
Yeah, it's really neat. And they could even, play that up on the air server. So instead of reading it in front of people, which makes a lot of them nervous, they could read it into the app and then play it up here, and it would still be like they're reading it, but they just wouldn't be put on the spot like that. So I thought that was really interesting. Jill made one, and I'm sure I could share it with you guys, but Alfredo, he made a Pic Collage. And then it's important, I know it's hard at the beginning, but it's important for the student to choose the app that they use as their visual aid, because then that kind of goes with the motivation and it makes it theirs instead of telling them you have to use Pic Collage. A lot of them have used Pic Collage for years and they get kind of sick of that. So obviously you would have to train them on how to use each app, but it's important to let them choose which one they want to use. Okay, any questions on those 3 strategies?
I was thinking something, but it's probably far-fetched. Is there any apps that would type out what they say?
There is one, what's it called?
Dragon Dictation is
Yes.
a free one.
Because, I mean, for those students that
But
really struggle on the
You can
spelling.
just push the-
you can do voice to text just in New
Yeah.
That's
Or any of the,
And then you could
Cause like,
copy.
I'm just thinking for the kids that really struggle with spelling and,
Mhm.
you know, that would be a good, for their final thing. And then have them look at what they wrote and then write it out in their handwriting.
Yeah, or even when they're listening to themselves, they could go to the notes and say pepperoni,
Yeah,
and then it could help them while they're writing.
Right.
Yeah, that's-
absolutely.
That's a great idea.
What'd you call that? Dragon?
Dragon Dictation.
I don't know that that's on our iPads, but I think it's free.
I'm pretty sure it's free. But
Most
yeah,
of
now
the,
you
like,
can just use
notes-
voice to text.
yeah, you can do, notes will do voice to text, anything that types now, you can hit the little microphone.
I would like you to flip your paper over. And then just take a few minutes, you probably didn't bring your iPad, so that's fine too. Just take a couple of minutes to fill out that graphic organizer using pictures, words, or phrases. And then I will go grab a couple of iPads for you to record on iMovie, just to
Was
try it
there
out.
specifics on what each thing was
Yes,
supposed to be?
the first one was about yourself,
Okay,
and then the first one was that, the second one was a hobby that you like to do,
okay,
and the last box was a second hobby that you would like, that you like.
okay. Are you showing pictures?
I can, don't be looking at mine. Yes.
I'll draw a Duke.
Don't be telling.
Don't tell them it's an awful picture of a dog. Not an art teacher before.
Wait, well, I missed the directions.
The first one,
The
well,
first one's about yourself.
Okay.
The next two are hobbies.
about our hobbies.
And instead of each of you recording yourself, I think it would be more beneficial if you recorded a partner.
we used iMovie before.
Okay, so you can choose who wants to record who on the iMovie, and just speak about it like you are.
No, it's
Is
in
my
my classroom.
classroom?
No, it's my room. Sorry. We'll watch that later.
Okay, so who's filming who?
I'll film you.
I'll film
Why are you getting your hair ready? You're not even filming.
I'll, like, when somebody else takes a smile, picture you smile all the time, I do that. Okay, how do we do this?
Oh, I have to read this? Wait, do I have to have 5 thoughts in each box?
Oh, I didn't have all
Oh,
that.
we can
You
only.
can kind of go off of what you have
Oh,
and add more as you're speaking.
okay.
What's wrong? There you go.
Create.
Corner.
Go in the hallway.
Okay, so I'll record you and you read what you wrote. Ready, go.
No, that's not what I wanted to do.
I am first and foremost a mother and a
How do
wife.
you do a new video?
In my free
Okay,
time,
so you
I like to play
go
outside shooting baskets
to
or swinging.
Projects.
I also enjoy
Cookies.
Okay, I got you.
baking cookies.
Bake us some
Good
cookies.
job.
Okay, ready?
What do we do?
And then I have to write it.
Are you ready?
Oh, now you have to listen
That's
to
a
it.
video? I thought we were voice recording.
Watch it. Yeah.
I'm gonna just play it, but she's just gonna talk. Are you ready?
Okay,
You're
you're
not
not
gonna
on
play it on
these.
here.
No.
Ready?
How are you filming me?
I'm not filming
No,
you.
we're
I'm
not
just gonna
filming, we're
film
just
this.
voice, we're
Oh.
just
So you're just gonna.
She's
just gonna
listen.
record your voice.
Okay, good.
Okay, go.
I'm Carrie Hadel, and I'm from Eudora, Kansas, which is near Lawrence, Kansas. So I'm a huge Katie's fan. I have brown hair, and I have two brothers. My hobby is, one hobby is walking my dog Maverick. I enjoy taking him on my car rides.
Do I get to hear you?
And my second hobby is doing crafty things like making wreaths or decorating my apartment. Oops, the end. Okay.
Crafts.
Okay, so we
Epigraphs.
are running out of time, but if we were
Except for a
hypothetically
team.
going to go back and listen to it and write it down, do you feel like that would be more beneficial to your students?
Yeah, I'm gonna try this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
so to wrap it up, I am going to give you this little exit ticket, and as soon as you're finished, just hand it to me and you can leave. I would just like for you to